Golf Air 007, turn right, heading 185, reduce speed 180 knots.
185 on heading 180 on the speed Golf Air 007.
Speedbird 124, reduce speed 160 knots to 40, you mean?
Reduce 160 to 4, speed 124.
Oh my gosh. It has been a week since I uploaded a video. I'm so sorry. Like, I don't know where the days go. It feels like maybe 2 or 3 days since I edited that return to London City, but apparently it's a lot more. Anyway, hello, and welcome back to another FSX video. We are doing something a little different today. As you can see, we're in the Alaska NG 737-800. And we are on the ground at a place called, and pronunciation pending, Ketchikan, I think. Papa Alpha Kilo Tango, and we're heading over to a place called Juneau, Papa Alpha Juliet November. As you can see in the background, the taxiway is really weirdly sloped, so we're going to have a lot of fun, I would imagine, getting out of here and also getting into Juneau. I have pre-recorded the footage, and I'm going to do kind of a commentary voiceover type thing. So this isn't live from the flight deck, so to speak. But yeah, I'm just testing the waters a bit, you know, seeing what works, what doesn't. So I would appreciate some feedback on whether you prefer the live stuff or you don't mind the kind of voiceovers. But anyway, as always, we start with the cold and dark setup. I loaded the PMDG stuff in, and just turning on all the usual switches. I screwed up a little bit in the fact that I lost my cold and dark scenario. I had a cold and dark scenario that I've been using for years since the NG came out, and I thought I'd uploaded it, and I didn't. So there you go. That really did suck. Anyway, onto the programming, the FMC, relatively simple. You've seen it a million times before. Just entering the departure, and no gate number as always. Well, not as always, but majority of the time the AirRack doesn't support the gate for some reason, and definitely not here, considering there's only 3 of the things. I did put a company route in. I should I say, used PFPX, and it's all stored in the FMC route folder for us. Runway 11 is the runway we're going to be using today, and I will be completely honest, there is no real published departure procedure that I could find for either runway, so I kind of just made it up. There's a lot of terrain, as you'll see in a minute when I turn the terrain radar on, or should I say terrain data on. That's not a radar. So yeah, I just made it up. We kind of took off and circled to the right and then climbed, and relatively light. It's only a 45 minute-ish flight, so it's not too bad. Anyway, according to my friend, Alaska use costed an X80. Feel free to correct that. And cruising today at flight level 300, and the winds, according to PFPX, were 219 at 61. So that's all good. Reserve of 3.6 tons. Right, on to the... Actually, what do we do next? So that was the ISA deviation, outside air temperature at the top of climb. Next we did the D rate, flat 5. I assume that Alaska used flat 5. They could use flat 1, they could use flat 10, or flat 15, something like that. I don't really know. Anyway, this is where I turn the terrain data on, and you can see there on the displays that high terrain to the out to the north, out to the kind of north east, is quite significant. So the departure again was not published, so it was more of a right turn and just kind of get out of the way. There wasn't as much in the way of terrain to the south, kind of southwest, so it made more sense to me to go to the right. Order brake set to RTO, and everything else looks good. MFD on the engine display for now, and we are on VATSIM, well, we were on VATSIM, should I say. So 122.8 for Unicom. There's no ATC at the moment. And we can switch the left forward fuel pump on and get the APU underway. I keep switching from kind of a third-person narrative to a first-person narrative. It's very strange, but it's a lot easier for me to do it this way than actually do it live. But if you prefer it live, then absolutely I'll do it live. Always set your pressurization altitude. So flight level 300, and the airfield elevation down at Juneau is like 68 feet or something. So just leave it on 50. Okay, so here we were pretty much ready to go. I was just getting rid of all the ground services and stuff You can see an audible, or hear an audible difference when we get rid of everything. And then onto the engine start, usual noises. You've seen the startup sound replacements that I've given you in the previous video. So for those of you that start spamming the comments box and asking what that's all about, that is it. It is completely to do with that video. So starting at number 2 first, as always, and then number 1 shortly to follow. The noises are forever amazing. I absolutely love them. Sadly, GSX did not work here, and I kind of scouted the forums for a fix, so there wasn't one, because of the way the airport is modelled and the fact that it's kind of below the runway, I guess. You can see right in front of us there's a slope taxiway. It's a little bit awkward, so it doesn't work. Nor can you have AI traffic here. Oh well. Beggars can't be choosers. So, starting up number 1 now. And apart from that, everything is good to go. MCP is set, FMC is set. Everything is sent on VATSIM. I was actually flying with a friend as well, which you may see on the way back actually. We didn't really see much of each other on the way there, because he departed a little bit ahead of me. But you can see quite clearly there on the terrain radar, I keep saying radar, the terrain data, that the, well, it's quite unforgiving, the terrain around here. There is literally a small gap in the middle to fly through. There's the start to cut down on engine number 1. Now we are introducing Track IR. That's what took so long. Yeah, Track IR sometimes when you put it on for the first time and then I always start Track IR disabled in Flight Sim, so then if I accidentally pick up my Track IR when I'm doing stuff, it doesn't like sort of spin out and go everywhere. The little pause there was when I was plugging it in and turning it on and stuff. Probably should have fixed that before I started recording. Anyway, MFD's back to back to the bottom being blank, and then I accidentally pressed the gear lever on the. I've got the X55, as probably most of you know, and it's got a bunch of programmable switches, and I keep forgetting which is which because I've got about 30 different profiles for each individual aircraft. So yeah, I just put the gear up on the ramp. Not a great idea. Nothing would happen anyway. Hydraulics are all going back on. Pitos and the window heats are already on. We can switch the APU bleed off now. Put all the packs on and the bleeds. The engine bleeds on. Transfer the generators across, ditch the APU, and the taxi lights are already on with the turn-offs. We are pretty much good to go. Flaps are set to 5. So, parking brake off. I decided to give this a little bit more power than usual, because there is a hill in front of us. And just before we do that, a quick flight control check, and away we go. But yeah, taxiing up this hill is interesting. It does actually model the physics of going up a hill. I didn't think that was the case in Flight Sim, like slope runways and stuff like that. But I guess it's a gradient, so it takes it at face value. It's very strange though, especially with EasyDock, when you kind of hit the rut of the hill. It tends to, I don't know, it tends to like plank the hill. You'll see what I mean in maybe 3 or 4 seconds. But all of a sudden you kind of get jolted upwards and the plane kind of tips back. It's very, very strange, although very, very fun. Ready, and see. It's weird, it just kind of goes ooh. Best sound effect 2014. So, literally at the end of this hill is where the runway is. There's no turnaround, it's just straight on and off. I think I panned to a wing view at some point, so maybe you'll get to see the little kind of, I don't know what it's called. I mean, to me it's a harbour, but it's got a bunch of float planes there. I don't know if you can see that on the wing view, but it's pretty cool. Just down to the right. No, you can't really see it, my bad. But yeah, down to the right. On the way back you'll see it. There's a bunch of float planes. And I probably should try flying a float plane at some point and see how that goes. Now coming to the top of the hill, you'll see that it kind of, yeah, see that? Really abrupt. It's kind of awkward, but oh well. I'm really much I can do about it. But anyway, we are pretty much ready to go now. Everything is set. Switch the auto throttle on, and I'll get all the lights. I always do that. When I go to right click, I end up right clicking the screen and then getting the menu. Pro tip, if you right click the screen too many times and you get a fatal error, you need to go and invest in finding a UI automation core.dll somewhere on Google and sticking that in your FSX root folder. That will fix that. Anyway, clocks are on. The transponder should go on next, which it does. And we're ready to go. So, turn to the right in the climb. We'll keep the flaps out for a little bit. And we'll kind of go from there. So 40% as always. Let it spool and stabilize. She's doing about now. And there's Toga. If you look out to the left of the window slightly even, you can see the clouds just kind of masking that hill. It's pretty cool. That's active sky for you. So airspeed drive, passing 80 knots now. And there's a little harbour on the left. I don't know if you can see that just off the left window, kind of a little bit set back in the distance. There's also a boat, a big cruise ship.
Rotate.
Let's rotate.
3-2.
Not much runway left, but it's good. We've got enough margin. And airborne we go. Positive rate, and the gear is coming up. With the right switch this time. I actually put the flaps up there, as anyone probably that's got Hawkeyes would see. But then I put it back down straight away. Getting used to peripherals, never fun. So, turning left would be a bad idea, and turning right probably equally as bad, but we've got a little bit more room to play with. So, there goes climb power. We're in flight level change at the moment. We'll stick the autopilot in and we'll let it fly the heading round to the right. And then we can keep the flaps as it is for now. I can't remember if I brought the flaps in and just let it go around at flaps up speed. We'll see. But I do remember hitting this visibility and going, oh my god, this is insane. Yeah, there you go. See, we keep the right turn all the way around, and because we're at only 170 knots, it turns it quite well, so it stays well clear of the terrain. Plus, you can see the altitude of the terrain there. We're way above it now. We'll keep the right turn going, and then eventually I go direct in the FMC and then follow the VNAV and LNAV path. Here's the direct to Lima Victor Delta, and we'll go on to LNAV, and then we can start to accelerate. I just stuck it to the flaps up speed. Kind of habit, I guess. I'm not quite sure the reasoning behind it, but it seems to always work for me. And this was fun. I come out of the clouds, and all of a sudden there was this really beautiful kind of dense overcast layer. It was really quite nice. Overcast in FSX is something that active sky is getting better at doing, and it's nice because it means that I can't see the ground when it's overcast. And from the ground, you shouldn't be able to see the sky, which, meh. It kind of works coming down, but not going up. Yeah, before someone makes an innuendo. Yeah, innuendo with that. Okay, so just passing 10,000 feet, switch off all the lights, and we should have really got rid of the ignition switches a little bit ago. Never mind, not to worry. It's a very short flight, which means that as soon as we're up, we're coming back down, so time to set the arrival for Juneau. Now we were going to go for the LDA X-ray, runway 08, and we're going to break off that approach and circle for runway 26, which is a bit odd, it's a bit eerie, but it's fun all the same. So what we need to do is select that, and then the transition is EEF, and then we can set the landing speed. With 140 knots with flat 40, I wasn't going to do 35. The runway itself is fine, it's just the approach type is a little bit odd. Now it's time to match everything up, which is just as simple as grabbing the EEF9 and moving it up, although it did take me about half an hour to figure out how to actually do that. As you can see, I went back and did it again, and then still looked through the legs. See, I get just as confused as most people. It's not, you know, it's not some weird conspiracy. I don't just jump in an aircraft and go, oh, I know everything. I really don't. I mean, I get just as confused as the majority of people in the comments go, oh my god, how do you know that? I mean, I know it through a lot of trial and error, not through, you know, being born with this inherent knowledge of everything. But again, spot the error. I did, and rectified it straight away. Going through flight level 185, and I underset pressure. Anyway, I finally figure out how to join the dots. It normally takes me a good, I don't know, 4 minutes. And then I'm sat there and I'm going, why isn't the radio altimeter changing or the barometer? And realise that I'm switching the wrong knob, which was nice. So the decision altitude anyway, if I remember off the top of my head, it was like 2,300 and something feet. It's a pretty hefty decision altitude, which means unless you have it bound on your keyboard, which you can do, or your mouse, you have to scroll and scroll and scroll. And for those of you that use EasyDock, you know that it bounces. So sometimes if you kind of place your hand in one position and then it bounces, oh my god, this sounds terrible. Then it moves and then you get kicked off the scroll. Yeah, I really should think about this before I say it. Anyway, it's all set, it's all good. It's runway 08. I decided to put a 4-mile range fix in. Didn't help at all, but I just thought, screw it, why not? Everyone else seems to do it. So you can see there is not much difference between top of climb and top of descent. But either way, it's still a good flight, and if you have the Orbex scenery, which is, I forgot to mention, it is all Orbex. So if you have the Orbex scenery for PAKT and PAJN, I highly recommend it. This was me just putting the descent winds in, which was generated by PFPX. So we chose flight level 230, 11,000, 5,000. And the winds are pretty similar in direction, just less in speed as we go lower, which is pretty much what you'd expect. Onto the ASA deviation, the QNH. Well, to get the ASA deviation, you just take 15 off the temperature. So the temperature was, I can't remember what it was. It's like something like 14 or something like that. And then the QNH is just the altimeter. So you always take 15 off the temperature, and then that's the ASA deviation. And then the QNH will be whatever that is. So the altimeter, we'll see in a minute when I eventually put it in. So it was -4, so go do that math. So -4 plus 15, and that's it. Okay, so we're just about to start a descent now into Juneau. Everything's planned, everything's set up. It just is a case of enjoying the scenery and just appreciating this part of the world. I am getting slightly fed up, I'm not going to lie, of flying in Europe all the time. It's getting a little bit samey. And I keep putting a glass to my mouth and you keep hearing the echo, I'm so sorry. That's really bad of me. But yeah, it gets very samey in Europe, and that's just because I've spent 9 years of my life on that sim, in flight sim, flying in Europe, so I'm broadening my horizons, and definitely when there's good scenery, I want to be there. So, as always, I say this in every video, and I guess people think I'm ignoring them, but I'm really not. It's just, there are so many suggestions, it's pretty impossible to get through them all. But if you have a nice place that you want to see featured on here, on the channel, and it's got good scenery, don't give me default places. I mean, there's more to life than default scenery. Yeah, give me some place with nice scenery that's, you know, that not many people know about. Give me an aircraft to do it in, and give me a flight, and tell me where to go. And I'll look it up. I see every comment, contrary to popular belief. I read comments on a usually hourly basis, if not, you know, daily. I am a human, and sometimes I need uplifting, and it is nice to log on to my YouTube comments and see the positivity from 99.9% of you. So, just because I might not reply, and I do try and reply to most of the comments, if it's just a generic, you know, thanks Matt for the video, it's really nice, the chances of me kind of giving you a really in-depth reply are quite slim, but I'll always say thanks if I can. But yeah, you should carry on doing that, and we should build up this community together and all be friends. Also, while I'm on the topic of community, the Cosford Flight Sim show is on the 4th of October. I am going. I have kind of spread the word amongst all my social media. If you are going and you want to say hi, you are more than welcome to come and say hi. Don't worry, I won't freak out. I am not hard to miss at all. Just look for that guy with either a black hoodie or a grey hoodie with jeans and some form of shoe. And yeah. So if you are there, feel free to come and say hi. I will post on Twitter and Facebook as well if I get a chance about where I am. But it's only a small place. I mean, although it's a convention, it really is. The venue is pretty small, so the chances of not being able to find me is exceptionally slim, unlike me. Wait. Anyway, I'll let you carry on watching this descent into the cloud. Alright, so we're just turning right now towards the offset approach for runway 08, and we're going to brake right and circle to the north, not to the north, I'm such an idiot, to the south of the field, and then kind of take up a left base for runway 26. I am completely anticipating, or I was completely anticipating, should I say, a bank angle warning, and I got it, and I'm so mad because it was not necessary. What happened was I got a little bit too overzealous with the controls. I'm using new configuration, I keep telling you this, and it really is an excuse, and a bad one of that. But the springs in the X55, you get a set of springs, a set of 4 springs, and each one varies in kind of friction and weight onto the joystick itself. So when I'm going around the corner, and I'm using the really kind of lethargic spring, the really heavy one, if I kind of ease a little bit of pressure onto the stick and let it snap back, I have a tendency to go, oh wow, I'm gonna go in the other direction, and then I kind of turn it left or turn it right too much, and then it kind of tips a little bit, which is what happened. You'll see in a minute. Yeah, I kind of went to turn, and all I wanted to do was level out a little bit, and instead of doing that I banked a little bit more and leveled out, and it went bank angle, but only for a split second. I fixed it straight away. But yeah, it was pretty bad flying of me. However, I have pre-recorded the return flight, and I tell you now, out of all of the approaches that I have done on my channel, that was the best one. It was superb, absolutely superb. I don't know how I did it, it was just complete fluke. Stuff like this, I never record twice. If I get it wrong the first time you see it, it takes too long to go back and perfect it. But yeah, the one on the way back was just absolutely outstanding, it really was. So when that goes up, you'll be able to see and be just as excited as me. Anyway, 12 o'clock from us, you can see the airport. It's running in a east to west configuration, runway 2608. We're heading at the moment for runway 08 on a kind of 20-degree offset to the north, to the south, sorry. So all we need to do now is what we're doing is turning right, and then we're going to fly a kind of, well, call it a right downwind, I suppose. Not a right downwind, what am I talking about? The left downwind, it's left of 08. You would think I didn't know what I was talking about. Anyway, I take the autopilot out here because I figured it's a nice day, we might as well hand fly it. And flaps are at 5 at the moment, the speed's coming down nicely. So essentially that little mountain you see right in front of us, we're just going to fly towards that and then hug the side of it, and then once I'm happy we're going to make the turn, and then that's when I screw it up a little bit and get the bank angle. But it's a lesson learned for if I fly it next time. Okay, so here's Seb Mountain. We're currently fully configured. Apparently we're running out of fuel, which is not fun. That burned quite fast. I don't really know what's going on there, but everything is configured. So we're auto brake 3, all the lights are on, ignition switches are continuous, and the speed brake is armed even. You can see the runway. We just literally have to swing it all the way around once we pass this ridge. You are going to get a bunch of GPWS warnings, the standard NG stuff. We got it when we did the Innsbruck flight when we came this close to the mountains. It's not out of the ordinary. You're completely visual with the terrain, so it's not too much of a worry. Nice boat in the distance there. I'll just turn my head, so never mind. So yeah, very soon we should start the left turn. There we go. Round we go now. And it's just a case of keeping the left turn coming and maintaining a moderate rate of descent. There's no real published procedure, so it's not as if I have to follow like descent profiles or step descents. I'm literally just visually flying it, and in a minute you'll see where I screw up. So right now it's good, it's really good. The speed's increasing a little bit, but that's fine. I can counteract that with pitch and power, which is, you know, standard flying. And then as I come around this last little bit of corner, I really do kind of, well, I screw it up, you'll see. Just right about now. See? Right there. I get the bank angle. I didn't need to do that, I just tipped it a little bit too much. As you can see, I'm a little bit right of center line, but you can correct that, it's not a problem. The speed though maintains 145, 146, 147, 148 range, which is perfectly fine. So I decided to continue, and yeah, it's the rest of it's just textbook now. There's no radio call-outs for some reason. I guess that's to do with the way the scenery is modeled or something. Maybe it doesn't quite understand what it is. But yeah, the landing is not too bad. It's not too shabby. There we go. Textbook landing. We idle reverse. and just let the auto brakes do the rest. I'm still getting used to my rudder pedals, by the way. It's really, really bad. So, we pass this exit. I'm manual braking now, the reversers are stowed. And then, it is just a case of taxiing to the gate. There aren't very many here in Juneau. Apparently this is an Alaska hub. I didn't realise this until after I did the video. I thought they just flew here ad hoc. But again, another kind of feature of Alaska which I really like is the addition of float planes. You probably just saw them as we landed on the left. There seems to be float planes everywhere. It's really cool. I think I'm going to do some float plane flying at some point. But yeah, I decided to take the nearest gate because it was easy, and there was already an Alaska Airlines just chilling out there on the stand. You can see they're just in front of us. So yeah, that's pretty much summarizes this flight. I'm trying to think of things to say because there's about 40 seconds left of the video, and I hate white noise. What can I say? Can I plug anything? No, I can't really. All I will say though is I really am sorry for the lack of videos. I am mad busy, and do you want me to list the things that I'm mad busy with? Number 1, IRL work. Number 2, YouTube, because I'm doing projects for later on in the year which aren't quite done yet. Number 3, Project Fly, which is taking up far more of my time than it should, but it will be awesome. And number 4 is something I can't say, but hey, it's all good. So yeah, about to park on whichever stand this was. It's a shame GSX doesn't, well, it does work. You can get ground services and stuff, but you can't get the air bridge to move. But I don't think that's GSX, I think that's just Orbex like hard coding the gates in or something. But oh well. Again, beggars can't be choosers. Anyway, we are shut down. Everything is about to be turned off. It was a beautiful flight. I hope you enjoyed it. The return will be up, I guess, within a day of this one going live. Again, the approach into back into Ketchikan, I think it's called, is pretty nice. So the mandatory panning around at the end of the video, which someone said they didn't like, but I don't care. I'm still doing it. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this style. Let me know if you didn't. We'll go back to the old style, but it should be okay. I don't see too much of a difference. Until next time, which will be in probably a day. Take care all, and I'll speak to you later. Bye bye.